you guys send in some sources about the Hanuman Chalisa, and wow, I'm already hooked. We've got stuff from Wikipedia, even like a line-by-line breakdown of the whole thing. So
Okay.
it's got to be more than just like a simple prayer, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is a Hindu devotional hymn, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so deeply woven into the culture. Millions of Hindus, they recite it every single day looking for Hanuman's blessings.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, do they have the whole thing memorized? I can barely remember what I need at the grocery store. But okay, before we get too far into the Chalisa itself, who is this Hanuman we're talking about?
So he's a central figure in the Ramayana, one of the most important epics in Hindu literature. Think of it like, your Iliad and Odyssey. And in the Ramayana, Hanuman is this incredible warrior, totally devoted to Lord Rama.
Okay, so what makes him so legendary? The sources mention like battling demons and even like leaping across an ocean. What would even make someone go on a trip like that?
It's a real testament to Hanuman's devotion. Rama's wife, Sita, she was kidnapped, and Hanuman took on this crazy quest to find her. And that leap across the ocean, that was just one of his, many incredible feats.
Wow, that's going above and beyond. Really makes you think about what we do for the people we care about, or even like the mountains we'd move to achieve our own goals.
Yeah, absolutely. He embodies that unwavering dedication. I mean, he even fought demons to try and rescue Sita, but his strength wasn't just, physical. It was rooted in his devotion to Rama.
Okay, so we've got this powerful warrior, totally devoted to Rama. Sounds like the ultimate superhero. But who gave us the words to express this devotion? Like this Hanuman Chalisa, where did it come from?
That would be Tulsidas. He was a poet saint who lived back in the 16th century. And get this, he's believed by many to be a reincarnation of Valmiki, the author of the original Ramayana, which was written in Sanskrit. Can you imagine the weight of that literary legacy?
Whoa, reincarnation. That's fascinating. It's like another layer to the whole thing, isn't it? So Tulsidas channels the original author of the Ramayana, and that's how we get the Hanuman Chalisa. This is getting more and more interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And the name Chalisa itself has a lot of meaning. It comes from chalice, which is the Hindi word for 40, because the hymn is made up of 40 verses, plus a few lines at the beginning and the end, so it's like a reminder of how it's all put together.
Okay, I see. So Tulsidas sits down to write this 40-verse hymn praising Hanuman. And the Wikipedia stuff says there's a story about how it all came together. Something about Hanuman's humility.
Right, so the story goes that in the first version, Tulsidas started by praising Hanuman directly. But Hanuman, being the epitome of humility, he wasn't comfortable with that. He believed that Rama, his lord, should be praised first.
It makes you wonder, why was Hanuman so, against getting praise?
Well, his devotion was so pure, so selfless. He saw his actions as just an extension of Rama's will. He wasn't looking for recognition, just to serve Rama.
That's a pretty powerful message, isn't it? True fulfillment comes from serving something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And the story goes that Hanuman actually appeared to Tulsidas in a dream and essentially erased those original verses. Tulsidas realized what he had done and rewrote the Chalisa, starting with praise for Rama to honor Hanuman's humility.
That's a great story. It really highlights his humility. And it sets the stage for understanding what the Chalisa is all about, these themes of devotion and selflessness running through it all.
Exactly. It's not just a bunch of verses. It's a reflection of these profound values.
And it's found its way into so many parts of Indian culture, like you mentioned, music, movies, even animation.
It's really amazing how a 16th century hymn is still around today. You've got versions in classical Indian music, folk songs, even in Bollywood movies.
I'm just imagining a poet from the 16th century trying to wrap his head around a Bollywood musical number. It's fascinating how something so old can still be relevant.
Well, it goes to show how universal the themes in the Chalisa are. Strength, devotion, overcoming obstacles. These resonate with people no matter the time or culture.
So while its influence is undeniable, its real power seems to be in how it brings inner peace. The sources you sent mention that reciting it can get you Hanuman's blessings, especially when you're going through tough times.
You're right, it's more than just words on a page. There's this belief that chanting these verses can bring about real change, both inside and out.
So, it's a direct line to Hanuman, a way to tap into his strength and guidance.
It's a way to connect with what he represents, yeah.
Yeah.
Strength, courage, unwavering faith. These are things we can all cultivate within ourselves.
Wow, I'm starting to see how deep this goes. It's more than a prayer. It's almost like a guide for a better life.
Yeah, a guide to getting through challenges with grace and resilience.
Speaking of getting through challenges, remember that whole thing about leaping across the ocean? That's like a literal example of overcoming an obstacle.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a powerful image. And it brings up an important question. What does it take to cross those metaphorical oceans in our own lives?
And I think that's where we need to dive into the Chalisa itself.
Yeah.
To see what wisdom it holds.
That leap, across the ocean, it's not just about physical strength, right? It's like a metaphor for the kind of determination and faith.
Yeah.
That we need to face our own challenges in life.
It's like, okay, things are rough, but I'm going to channel my inner Hanuman and just leap right over this obstacle.
Exactly. And the Chalisa gives us the words, that framework for how to build that inner strength. Let's take a look at some of these lines from the interpretation you sent over. One of them describes Hanuman as the divine messenger of Lord Rama and the embodiment of immense strength.
Oh, that's a good word. It's like it shows both sides of him, the divine connection, but also that incredible power.
It's so interesting, isn't it? He's divine, but also a total force to be reckoned with. And I think that's why so many people turn to Hanuman for protection. They're calling on that strength.
Yeah, totally. It's like, if you need something done, Hanuman's your guy.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, like, outward strength, is it? There's that whole inner peace thing, too.
Yeah.
How does that fit in with all this power?
Well, there's another line that says you crossed the vast ocean with ease, showing your immense power and determination. It's describing something he actually did, but there's a deeper meaning there too.
Crossing a vast ocean with ease. That's like facing any massive challenge in life, something that just seems impossible. But it says with ease. That's interesting.
Exactly. So what does it take to cross that ocean? To face those impossible challenges and do it with ease. Power is part of it, yeah, but also that unwavering faith and determination.
And that's where the inner peace comes in. When you have that unshakable belief, you can face anything and stay calm.
Exactly. It's not about being fearless. It's about having the inner strength to keep going, knowing that you have support from something bigger than yourself. And the Chalisa just reinforces that idea again and again.
You mentioned earlier how millions of Hindus recite the Chalisa every day. Have you ever felt that connection to Hanuman while you were chanting? What was that like for you?
It's less about feeling connected directly to Hanuman and more about tapping into what he represents, the strength, the devotion, the unwavering belief. It reminds us that we all have that potential inside us.
That's really powerful. It's like the Chalisa is a tool for bringing out those qualities in ourselves. What about you listening in? Have you ever heard the Hanuman Chalisa chanted? What did you think? Did you feel that energy we've been talking about?
It's a really moving experience.
And if you haven't heard it, I definitely recommend checking it out. There are so many different versions. Traditional chanting, modern takes, even musical ones. You can find one that speaks to you.
Yeah, you could even listen to a few different styles and compare how they make you feel.
That's a great idea. Speaking of different interpretations, let's go back to some more lines from the Chalisa. Is there anything that really stands out to you?
There's one that I find particularly moving. It says, "You are learned and virtuous, always eager to serve. You delight in listening to the glories of Lord Rama." It says so much about his character.
Yeah, it really shows his dedication, his selflessness. It's almost like he finds joy in putting Rama first.
Exactly. And it makes me think, how often do we actually put others first? Or find joy in celebrating someone else's achievements? It's a good reminder that real fulfillment can come from service and selfless devotion.
Yeah, that makes me think about all those times when I've been so focused on my own goals that I haven't stopped to think about how I can help others. It really changes your perspective.
And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The Chalisa isn't just about asking Hanuman for help. It's about embodying those virtues ourselves.
Becoming more like Hanuman, yeah. More devoted, more selfless, more determined.
And isn't that a powerful message for us today? In a world that's all about individual achievement, the Chalisa reminds us about the strength that comes from humility and from serving something greater than ourselves.
It's giving me chills. It's amazing how these ancient verses can still speak to us today. What about you listening? What qualities of Hanuman do you connect with the most? Is it his strength, his devotion, his humility?
It's interesting to think about what parts of this hymn resonate with different people and why.
Maybe there's a line in the Chalisa that really speaks to you, one that you keep coming back to.
Or maybe you connect with Hanuman's story on a deeper level and see it as a metaphor for your own journey. What stands out to you?
We've covered a lot of ground already. Hanuman's adventures, how the Chalisa came to be, its impact on culture, and now this deep dive into its spiritual meaning. I gotta say, before we started this whole deep dive, I thought the Hanuman Chalisa was just like a regular prayer, but it's so much more than that.
It really is. It's a story, it's a source of strength, it's a meditation, a glimpse into all these cultural and spiritual values.
And it all comes back to Hanuman's humility, especially when you think about how powerful he is.
That's what's so incredible about him. He can leap across oceans, fight demons, and yet his devotion to Rama always comes first. Never wants the glory for himself.
It's like the ultimate lesson in selflessness. Real strength comes from humility and putting something bigger than yourself first.
Exactly. And that message goes beyond any religion or culture. It's something we can all aim for, no matter our background or beliefs.
I'm so glad you shared these sources with us. This deep dive has been amazing. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about the Chalisa, but about Hindu mythology too, and the power of these ancient stories.
It's been great exploring this with you, and I hope you listening in have gotten a lot out of it too.
Before we go, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
That's a good question. I think for me, it would be that sense of wonder and realizing that even really old texts can still be relevant today. The Hanuman Chalisa shows us the power of storytelling and faith and the human spirit.
I love that. It makes you wonder what other ancient texts or hymns are out there. What other hidden meanings are waiting to be discovered?
Oh, there's a whole world of ancient wisdom out there, just waiting to be found and reinterpreted. It's a treasure trove of knowledge just waiting for us.
So to everyone listening, I challenge you. Go out there and explore. Find a recording of the Hanuman Chalisa and listen to it. Experience its power for yourself. Let it inspire you.
And maybe it'll make you want to look into other ancient texts too and see what timeless wisdom they hold.
That's what the deep dive is all about, isn't it? Finding those hidden gems of knowledge and sharing them.
Exactly. It's been great diving depth with you today.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those deep dives going.